Well, here we are in Skagway. We're leaving for Haines. We're going by boat. It's supposed to take approximately 30 minutes. And then in Haines, I think we get on a bus. And from there on, I don't know what we're going to do. But that's the cruise ship, the Westerdam, that we arrived on. Okay, we're underway. We just left Skagway and we're heading to Haines. There's a helicopter over there in the distance.
1, 2, 3, 4 helicopters.
Is there? All tours, helicopter tours.
As you will notice, our life preserves are stowed underneath the bench seats along both sides of the vessel, also on the upper deck underneath the benches. We do have 3 50-man life rafts on board. They're up here on the bow. And our restrooms are located behind the galley. There are 3 restrooms back there. And we do have marine toilets on board. So we ask that you use the toilet paper provided, nothing else, because they do get...
The ones that you see around here permanently, that's one of the ones and you will see, you ought to be able to see an eagle while you're here, in your stay, on your stay. And if you don't see one, take a good look at me. I'm of the eagle clan, right? And if you want to take my picture, I don't charge for that either. But if you look on the mountainsides, there is no particular eagle that I see right now. You might see them. And against that great big green expanse, I had a lady ask me if that was from an oil spill, and it's not. It's the tide water markings. That's the highest point of our tide and the lowest point. The lowest point of tide can be recorded at -4 feet, and the highest tide can be 20 feet. There's a good fluctuation between the tides. But what I can share with you is that this whole area was been carved out by a glacier.
The waterfall.
The marks that you see, the white marks that you see on the rocks on the side, were made by the rocks of the glacier as it was receding or pushing ahead. The falls at 9 o'clock.
Right up there, 9 o'clock.
Huh?
No, I lost them.
They probably had a committee on a committee to come up with a name like that too.
I did, but
I can't see it.
And as we were
Yes,
paddling
that's
up,
Haines.
we just broke off at various sites. The sites that you seen today as you're traveling up in your cruise ship. Ketchikan, Sitka, Angoon, Juneau, Deschutes, where you're going to on our boat now, in Skagway. We all dropped off and peeled off. And we picked these sites because of the amount of food that we've seen available. In the Deschutes area, what we have available to us are deer, moose, mountain goat, bear, and a lot of salmon. There were mussels, but we never had any clams. You'd have to be in Juneau for clams, and they're that much farther south. Nothing personally about it, it's the story that I've heard. And I questioned the validity of the story myself. But these are Sawmill Creek Falls. And they're called Sawmill Creek Falls because a long time ago, a man looked up and he seen some good wood that needed to be logged. So he went up in there. and he started logging. But he had no way of getting them down. So he took them down the falls. But I look at those falls, and I know the kind of pressure falls have, water pressure, and I know how easy, you know, a log might look like it's sturdy, but even a log can only take so much beating. But he supposedly brought him down that. So maybe actually all he was making was toothpicks, and that's where our toothpicks came from. And you know, I can believe that the area was logged, because if you look at it, there are two shades of green. You have your dark green of the trees that weren't touched, and then you have the lighter green and the Chilkat Peninsula is a divider. It isn't all one land between there and the set of mountains you see behind Fort Seward. There's a river between there. That is known as the Chilkat River. And on our return trip, I'll be telling you a story about a song that was composed by a man who was from this area.
There's a glacier back in that valley. He called it what? Fairby Glacier?
Okay, just a little while ago I was pointing out Fort Seward, the city of Haines. Fort Seward sits in Port Chilkoot.
This is the town of Haines. It took us 30
If
to
you look up
35
into
minutes to
the
get here by boat.
Chilkat mountain range, straight ahead of us, and you look up on top and there's that big bowl in there. Well, it's not as big as this one over here, but to the left of that great big one, there's a smaller one. And if you come right down below that to the river's edge is Pyramid Harbor. And the story that I want to be telling you about is from that area. And I'm pointing this out now because when we go back and I start talking about it, you're not going to be sure of where, since we're headed in that direction, I'll point it out now.
Or we take the ferry system. Our state ferry comes in once a day in the summertime, once a week in the wintertime. That's $40 round trip. Then you put your rig on there, that's another $40. Then you have to plan to spend the night because it doesn't return until the next day. So those could be 3 spendy trips. So most of us only get to Juneau 2 or 3 times a year. On the far left, you'll see a market. It says A&P. Haines A&P, that means Alaskan and proud. Behind the green fence, that's our diesel plant for our electricity. In town here we have 1 lawyer, we have 1 dentist, we have 2 chiropractors, we have 2 doctors, we have a brand new veterinarian, and we have a judge that comes in once a month. We don't have a movie theater, but we have a nice video shop there on the left. And then there's Hauser Supermarket here on the right. Just about anything you want to buy is in that store. Our barges with the food comes in on Wednesdays. You should have most of your shopping done by Thursday, especially in the wintertime because the shelves start to get pretty bare. This is downtown Haines, Main Street. We have 6 bars in town and 6 churches. Again, this is run a lot by volunteers. You're going to hear me use the word volunteer a lot today. Our town's run on volunteers. You don't dare tell someone you have spare time because they'll find a job for you. On the right, it says ANB and ANS, Alaska Native Brothers, Alaska Native Sisters. This is their clubhouse.
This is a Bald Eagle Association Museum.
She looked at me sort of strange like and said, "Now I know why it's here." He said, "No one in their right mind that knows anything about museums would have done this." He says, "No one can build a transitional display to the degree that we've done." And I blame it basically on our concept. We want people to share our valley, which is 48,000 acres in size. This is the Chilkat Bald Eagle Reserve. And we have two unique people to help us. What you see on the left is done by Bob and Ann James on a Homer. They are fishery people. They actually will take a sample of the fish that duplicate fiberglass. We have only two of our fish are what we call skin mounts. We prefer the fiberglass simply because it lasts forever, where the skin mounts have an age factor. But he has done, Bob and Ann has done this, and then all of the other work that you see here is done by Chuck Buchanan and his family out of Carcross, they're Canadian. And he is very, very proud of his work. I'd say here we try to tie in the fish to all the creatures, and the centerpiece is always that of the eagle. The eagle is our valley. And this is the story I like to share with you. This is the Valley of the Eagle. Now you people have come from a distance and you come into the valley, and sometimes the first thing we hear is, "Well, I've heard that this is the greatest gathering of eagles in the world. I want to see them." 99.9% of those that are born will never have the privilege to reproduce. Now that one happens to be this fish right here. Right there. This is your snout. 99.9% of those, when they come back to give birth or to lay eggs, well, only one fraction would you believe. For every 100 you're going to see, only 2% will come back. Now that's good, because when 2% comes back, the female will lay eggs between 2,000 and 6,000. So that 2% is a good return. And when we look at it, we say, "What, Mother Nature is hungry." Well, this is the story of survival of the fittest and the food web. If you look at all the creatures we have in here, this represents our valley of 48,000 acres, the Chilkat Bald Eagle Preserve, and every creature that you see in here, if you could visualize a niche that Mother Nature has created, part of that, the big story of 360 degrees. And each one has tools to fit in that given niche. And all of these niches interrelate with all the others as well. This is what we call survival of the fittest.
Going over here. Ooh. Get a picture. Here they're grilling the sockeye salmon. Look how pink that is.
There's only one fillet in there, so you might as well grab that one.
Here's where we're eating supper tonight. Now we're going to eat.
Crystal can come out and I'll show you a little bit about her regalia. The blanket she wears has a clan design on the back. In this case, a bear's head on the top with large abalone. This size and thickness of abalone would have been traded from as far south as Monterey Bay. The Alaskan abalone are much smaller and the shells are really thin because of the colder water. So you can use them for inlay like on the Shuckeyettes around the edges. But for this you need trade items for abalone. Sometimes they would be copper. This large shape that you see is called a tinop, or a money piece. And sometimes they were 3 feet tall and made out of a solid piece of hammered copper. Sometimes the ship's carpenter, I guess, for lack of a better word, would actually manufacture items out of copper and brass for the rigging on the ship. Anytime they came in and they saw big pieces of copper, the natives tried to buy them or get them commissioned. And then they would turn them into a large copper tina, which would be a very valuable item of inheritance. There was one listed to be worth 10,000 blankets. At the time, a Hudson Bay blanket was worth about $1. And so $10,000 in the 17 or 1800s was an incredible amount of money. These are miniatures of a copper tina here, forming the shape of the big one all over. And that would be her clan design in the Bear clan. Daniel's clan design would be the frontlet on the Shuckeyette. The headdresses are oftentimes made out of leather or sealskin with bear claws around the top. And Daniel's headdress has different style grouse feathers on the top. This one, what's left of the few feathers of my headdress now, have flicker feathers on them. And flickers are actually similar. They don't pound holes in trees like woodpeckers, but they do eat insects and have a very sharp beak like that. And their feathers, there's orange shafted and golden shafted flickers. And those were traditional for use on the front. These whiskers sticking up on the top are sea lion whiskers. And when we do a chokeout blanket dance, Dan, you guys can grab a blanket and bring it out. When you're doing a chokeout frame on a loom, and the warp, the up and down material, is twisted with the inner bark of the cedar. And after dancing with this blanket for 40 years, you can see a lot of the fringe is gone. And what breaks off is the cedar bark eventually dries out and starts to break off. Some of this fringe, which you can see, there's one layer on here, which is actually Icelandic sheep wool that we had a weaver, chokeout blanket weaver, add on over the fringe as it started to thin. And that would be something traditionally that you would do. With the chokeout blanket, since it was so valuable, today they're worth maybe $30,000 a piece. But in the old days, they were still worth, well, when my father first came up here in the mid-40s, he and 4 other veterans bought the fourth surplus property. At that time, you could have bought a chokeout blanket for $100.
I told you I'd get you on video.
Big one! Big one!
When they announced when we were open up, these gets back to the door. Get off work at 11:30 or whenever it was, and scoot across the channel back over the island. Or
Now, was that after you got out of the Coast Guard?
yeah, I got out of Coast Guard in May. Came back up here then for the summer, June. Then I went back to Wisconsin for 9 months. We went back to work at school for going to school. Rented a little house there. Electronics. This wasn't my bag. No. And that winter, there was so much snow.
And I lived in New York then. And he had a leather and he had it on his back. He'd grab that, you know, if they wanted a block or half block or whatever, and he'd chip that down, and then all those little chips would be there. Well, I'm scared would run after because give me those chips in a second.
Wisconsin
Well,
River.
that Wisconsin River water was probably a lot
I think that water's cold.
healthier than some of that water those people are drinking in
You
Southern
bet.
California.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, the way those big way up there. Is that water coming down way up there? No, way up to the left up there.
Find them?
Found Cindy. She's one deck up, but Bob, I don't know. You're right. We're going to go by Haynes right over here. Big ship in there, yeah.
Who are you looking for, Charlene?
Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Did you see it? Were you high enough to see there a lake over there? Yeah. No, it's still a lake. Very shallow, very deep. It had to be more than 20 feet deep.
That's why we keep along this side.
Catamaran?
That's Ames, right?
Yeah.
And what do they say about those fuel kitties?
They use them during the military and stuff. When that was the base.
There must be a deep enough channel in here somewhere. We got no tankers up there to pump the fuel. It's Alaska. We got David Lutz running the video, so he can't talk. We're looking at all the snow in the background, and Cynthia Ailes says it just doesn't even look real. It should be a postcard.
That's that Rhapsody, that one that we've been following all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
Rhapsody of the Sea. Yeah.
Is that the Norwegian cruise line?
It isn't Norwegian though, it's Princess.
It's a princess?
Yeah. Well, that's what they said, that there were two princes in there this morning at Skagway. This was one and then the other one. This morning.
Although, when we went out to Washington, D.C. that one time,
How does that look when who is that? Warmer, right?
Where's that the name down right there?
That's Skagway, backed up that way, right there. $10:35 at night.
Oh, I'm funny.
So that's Heinz right there, huh?
Yeah.
Haynes?
Haynes.
Not much there.
no, the ship takes up half the town.
Yeah.
How come there's not 3 ships there like there was at Skagway when we were there?
I'm trying to figure out what that ship's doing there so long. If that was in Juneau with us.
Yeah.
Hey, we might see some animals here on these nice flats. Wildlife? Hi. Seriously, wildlife.
boat way up there. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a glacier right there.
First one.
There's a glacier.
Does it look like there's something behind that tree line? I mean, does it just goes all the way to that glacier or what?
Water.
Oh, this is a little finger island.
Yeah.
I can see the blue underneath it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple of them up in there.
Yeah.
Right below the
Is
glacier.
that a fire, David, or is that an electric light?
Light.
If that's an electric,
smoke coming out of there.
if that's an electric light, they got a generator plant.
I'm sorry. Talking about the lake. We weren't talking about the Oh yeah, there's nothing over there.
View out of our cabin window. What a beautiful view. Cindy seen a whale earlier, and Linda seen one just a little while ago, but we've yet to see one. There's a room. Just had our coffee delivered to the room. There's a glacier there. Through the window again. Now we're gonna go and have breakfast and go up on top of deck.
Just as that dip goes around the beach.
Have you seen, are you seeing it?
Yeah.
You see him, Bob?
Open front end?
Down in the restaurant.
Oh, in the restaurant.
Just finished breakfast.
Where did you go? Look,
Right down here.
the Lido or the veranda?
Brenda.
We have not shipped in.
I don't know what we had that too. Coffee and roll. Hey, you warm?
See brown bear, big brown bear.
Big.
Does that make a difference with the light?
It's not 8 years near as windy now as what it was.
Oh, I know.
Bob, you didn't take a picture of it.
Hopefully by the time we get
There he
up to
goes,
it,
yeah.
you'll be able to get a really good look. If you already have your binoculars, directly ahead of us, you will see a rock outcropping with vegetation on like 2 steps.
A seal.
Kind of looks like a lawn that's been
Just went
terraced.
back in water.
And on that second step up, you can look for a small brown dot that's moving around, and that is yet another Alaskan.
One of them is just above the rock. How about they green up? Yeah. Quite a ways. But there's like you can almost see. Make it out. It's second plateau, right above the.
Yeah, he's walking now.
On the left side. And you see him moving.
There's a little bit another one right below it.
One big one and one smaller one. Right.
Got them both. There's a big crack there. I think there's
All that rock and rubble, that frozen mud that you see on the face of the glacier is because the glacier has many tributary glaciers, just like a river. And those tributary glaciers add all of their morainal material. The moraine is the rock and the rubble the glaciers are carving from their valleys. So each tributary glacier adds to this main trunk of the glacier lots of rock and rubble. And that rock and rubble, even though you'd think it would absorb more heat, if it's more than 4 inches thick, it helps to insulate the glacier. So it actually helps to keep it cold. Below the surface of the water, and we are in 600 feet of water, but below the surface, this glacier is pushing a mountain of rock and rubble in front of it. And that insulates the face of the glacier from the corrosive action of this warm salt water. Now the water's not warm for you and I, but it's warm for ice. So what you're seeing in front of you is the most powerful glacier in the park, the Grand Pacific. This is the one John Muir saw 100 years ago. This is the one that filled the bay 200 years ago. And it has advanced 3 times since the last little ice age, completely filling Glacier Bay, pushing the water out, breaking down all of the forests and pushing them out of the way and carving this fjord that we're traveling on over and over again. The pretty blue glacier that you see off to the left-hand side of the port side of the ship is the Margerie Glacier. The Margerie Glacier only has 1 tributary glacier adding its morainal material, so you get to see the blue, beautiful blue color of the ice. Although it's probably one of the more picturesque glaciers in the park, it's not pushing much of a moraine in front of it, it's not carrying much morainal material, so it's not advancing, it's just staying still. Which means it's not staying still completely, it means it's not getting any longer. Because glaciers always move. So the length of the Margerie Glacier, the 16 miles of ice that you see,
And then she started talking.
is staying the same length over time. The ice fields are feeding it from the back, and it drops off ice in the front, but it doesn't gain ground, it doesn't get longer because it can't provide insulation to the face of the glacier. The Grand Pacific one, the dark one, is 25 miles long and has been advancing. It's gotten 5 miles longer since 1925. Which means it's being fed from the ice field more than it's dropping off at the face.
Good.
These glaciers average about 300 feet high above water at the face, and the Grand Pacific goes all the way to the bottom of the inlet underwater. It's about 2 miles across, and the Margerie Glacier, the blue one, is about 1 mile across. So watch for small pieces of ice falling from these glaciers, and that'll show you where the face is active and where you might see one of those huge pieces fall. We're going to close down the information and book sales desk while we're at the glaciers. We're going to come outside to answer any questions you might have, and also stay off the PA system so that you can enjoy these glaciers on your own and listen for the thundering sound of that ice cracking. And then as soon as we leave the glaciers, we'll open up the information desk again, and we'll only be open for another hour. So if you're interested in any of the books and videos or coloring books we brought on board, come out, see the glaciers, and then as we leave, come on back down to just outside the Admiral's Lounge on the promenade deck.
right, David?
Part of it.
Thanks for Whoa, look at that. Full steam ahead here. I think we had a cabin. Oh, that's coming over there. Wave.
Mine are right on that ice. What are you doing, Rip? Hot toddy time. Must be time for chow. Did I want a picture of that? Oh.
Yes. Hey, Hales wants to know if lunch is ready. I didn't get any pea soup. I never wanted that. Did I tell you what the waiter did last night? Waiter, Bob came in and joined us for dinner. He was free dinner. So here comes Freddie the waiter. Freddie come over and get Bob's order right away, and Bob got his dinner. Freddie come back with the dessert menu. And he goes to Bob, gives him the dessert menu. Bob looks at Bob, no menu. And Freddie looked up at us and goes, yeah. Nothing else is working on now. Hey, there's a man for the day.
More MGD. More MGD.
Bush Light serums tonight.
Linda, do you want a drink?
How's that salmon, Raj?
Excellent salmon.
Full of salmon.
This is very, very fresh salmon.
Very good.
I picked it up as cake.
Yeah, probably. Think so? It's fresh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blue sky and look at the peaks on the mountain.
I would say no.
Whose ice cream is that? Is that for Bob?
Very good, eh?
Excellent. Boy, that's excellent fish.
We are now to the furthest extent into Johns Hopkins Inlet that we are going to go. We're going to start to turn, and I encourage all of you to get near a window or look outside because you're going to miss one of the most spectacular views in southeast Alaska. We've got the Johns Hopkins Glacier at the far end of the inlet, and up above to the left is the beautiful Mount Abbey. We've got the Gilman Glacier coming down to the left-hand side, touching the face of the Johns Hopkins at the left. An incredible number of inlets of rock outcroppings of all different colors. Clouds seem to be dancing among the mountains. And we've just heard from the researchers that are stationed up here that are counting the harbor seals. They've counted 3,200 seals with 750 pups. This is one of the largest populations of harbor seals that have their pups on the ice. This is considered Glacier Bay's cathedral. I'd like to personally welcome you here. And by all means, get someplace where you can see outside. If you're enjoying your lunch, just make sure you get a look as we turn around at this point called Jaw Point here in Johns Hopkins Inlet.
Isn't it?
You mean this is growing?
We're receding, so we're growing. Because of where the snowfall is. It's come a long ways up since I saw that.
Is that right?
These were two separate, I mean, real distinctly separate. Airport break! It is so rare to see half of that. Fairweather Mountain is right behind Johns Hopkins.
Okay.
It's very rare to see peak. And just as we pulled into here, we saw peak. Since been clouded over.
There's a jagged peak up there.
They're out there, Dad. If with my lens I can see them sitting on there. They're just little dots. You'd never ever pick them up with a camera.
You can see them through the binoculars.
Yeah, there's a bunch laying out there. Just a whole bunch of them. But that's what they look like, is little black dots.
You hear how many?
Yes, it's unreal how many.
I can see it.
Dots.
They're there. All over the first level. His voyages up here back in the 1700s, and he named that Fairweather Mountain because you can only see it in fair weather.
That's the only time you see it's fair
That's
weather.
right.
Fairweather Mountain,
15,320 feet.
320 feet high. These are the
Oh, and you're almost going to see the top now. It's starting to clear.
Around Mountain Ridge.
You might get a view of it.
Spectacular. They don't look that tall, but they are.
Oh, they are. Come on, clear. There's not that much left up there.
You can imagine it's 5 miles away from that glacier over there.
Yeah, if it's 5 miles from here to there, put that in perspective height-wise.
It's not going to clear land up that time we leave.
I don't know, Dad. We might get it. It might. I mean, it's a lot clearer than it was. There's not a whole lot up there that's left yet, so we may get lucky. Get a hole in the cloud or something.
Those clouds are left. You can see them.
Picking up speed. Did you get a picture before?
Mm-hmm. All kinds. I'm just waiting for the peak. A peek at the peak. Oh, we might. It's real close now.
We're losing it.
Oh, but the peak will be there for a long time. All we're missing is the very top of it.
You're from here?
I was from Anchorage.
Dropping more
Oh, I'm so happy it's clear. Okay. You should tap your head from my tripod, okay?
That's not the first time. You want in?
That is a force down there.
There's Mr. Cutting Line. He's in the line, waiting for a second. You see if he'll cut in line here. Look at that salmon, still drilling.
And also provide so we try to provide come on cruises, experience preservation farms, and also we have designated wilderness waters where no more adults are allowed. People who come by kayak to experience
Yeah. Yeah. One of the park rangers answering questions here today. Looking for something to eat, I think.
Everyone goes to the park. Some of the things you probably know about is that the funding for the national park, we cut more and more each year. It comes down 5% each year.
Just hills all around.
And also the heavy budget cut is very difficult to keep the park service. The reason we let it to that is not because we don't want to come. We want everyone to come. We don't want them all to come on the same day. That wild places like this, and that is very, are important. I encourage you to get involved, find touch.
I'm sure they are.
These are the home videos that we took of the glaciers in Alaska in 1999. How do you like them?
Looked like this loose with some stuff slid out.
Some more stuff slid
Some
out.
more stuff started sliding out. And I had the camera set.
Right.
And other stuff started sliding out. And started falling. So I got about 6 pictures.
Oh, how wonderful.
I just hope the hell they come out.
Yeah, well, you know.
I probably had my finger.
You probably had your filming backwards or something.
Well, I'd like to see another bear.
I'll turn around and come right behind you.
Nah.
Teddy bear.
A Bobby bear.
Ron, where that water or the
More wildebeest?
stuff comes down, right in the water.
These folks are from Wisconsin and they're wildebeest.
Well, David, did you get to see any of the wildebeest that Ripper was seeing?
No.
The wildebeest?
Where were they?
I didn't
Is that
see
what
it.
it is?
Yeah.
So the camera
Rip spotted it. Here we are on the deck of the Western Dam, June 23rd at 1:20 p.m. in Glacier Bay National Park.
They didn't go
It's
down.
about
under the
55
water, but yet I
degrees,
could see
sunshine.
We
Just had a beautiful, delicious, fresh salmon grilled outdoors lunch.
Got that on video.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
We're still grilling it.
One guy's got a
We have to
bald
go back
head.
for a little bit more.
What do you see over there?
Bob over here.
One guy's smoking a cigarette.
Where?
Use your glasses.
Where's that?
Where are you looking?
You gotta put you right up next to the glass.
Okay. Thank you.
Rip,
What?
go over here and tell us where you got that dick.
Wait straight up.
I can't tell you.
See the right of that snow that
I don't care, that's fine.
Say, Debbie, David showed us some pictures over at your room today. Very nice. They are very nice. Now, yeah, I just got a question here. Ron went to the gift shop and looking for a watch. A Mickey Twister watch.
No watch.
And the lady says, well, actually, it was here 30 minutes ago, but we didn't have a sign on it, and it's gone.
2 pictures missing too.
So, would you know anything about a watch?
I don't know anything about a watch.
Well, Linda's got one.
Knockers up there. Oh, it's beautiful. Keep just right the way they're at.
Small black spot that Parker seals, stellar seaway, and a number of flashing birds as well.
Sea lion.
Sea otter.
Sea otter?
Does he have a rock in his claws?
Whale watching.
It's upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 animals, which has been kind of groundbreaking news. Previous to this most recent report from a number of different researchers, we thought the best estimate for humpback whales in the North Pacific was somewhere around 4,000 to 6,000 animals. It appears that there may be quite a few more.
Right up against the sun, I don't know.
Picture of the ship too.
Just been talking to Joan out to the two little fat ladies, Vivian and Charlie. They come from Bristol, that's where the accent is. And they hadn't heard the tour person saying about the game. And I said something about the game in the land. It's just not.
There's a princess ship. Yeah. When we came out of the dining room,
Yeah.
take her.
Oh,
Down off the dining room, so I wouldn't be surprised if we swing around. If it was there.
quite a trick getting a ship like this.
Can you imagine they can do boo-boo and oops.
I have trouble parking my car sometimes.
Have you got that mountain in? You can. So they might be
Well, yes, as you noticed on the other stops, there were all kinds of things you could do that you hadn't seen before. Yeah. So far, we went, right, yeah. I'll show you.
This is Thursday morning.
This was my home for a year and a half in 1965 to 1967, Ketchikan, Alaska. I was stationed there in the Coast Guard with my brothers Roger and Butch. Butch got us up there, me on the base and Roger on the ship, the Bittersweet.
Meet at the White Polar Bear for the bands. 15 minutes.
I don't know if you want jewelry. They have some beautiful gold jewelry. Like necklaces and stuff like that. Everybody's buying. And it's just beautiful. Fine, not like mine, but like real fine, filigree kind of, you know, dainty kind of thing. I mean, more silver or gold. You know, I mean, otherwise they've got some really nice sweatshirts. Those pull over your head with the pockets.
There's the bands we're getting. Smile. Smile.
I think the 41 footers are already out. I think they already jammed out this morning.
The buoy there, huh? That just go all the way around?
Yep, this goes all the way around.
Just tell them to move.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Those look small. Used to be able to go all the way around. Oh yeah, here it is.
Take a left here. Yeah.
Get through there?
Oh, there's a 41 footer.
Huh?
Hold up there.
What's that noise?
I'm singing you. One pull out.
What is that?
Just.
That's somebody getting the knees down. God damn it.
Did he?
Especially after he told you.
Yeah.
See how he is?
Yeah, the old barracks is gone, huh?
Where'd he go?
He's down this way.
He's up there, isn't he?
No, he's right here. Right in front.
Oh.
Dude, God damn it.
Smile.
Then you can keep going up this hill straight ahead and there's...
Oh, I'll go to...
guys get to see any whales or anything?
Yep.
All right.
Only at the buffet line.
Only at the buffet line?
Really?
Oh yeah. Right by Minimar. I was kind of impressed. I was like, wow.
How far out this road do you want to go?
All the way.
Go keep going.
You've been down this road before, David?
Oh yeah.
You're going to run into a lot of tourists.
Yep. This is the biggest tourist attraction in town. One of them.
I can go right on around here, right?
Yeah. You could go left. I forgot where there's parking up there.
Where do I want to go? Left or right?
Right.
Go right. Oh yeah, this has changed.
Where do I want to go? Round?
Huh?
Bear Clan Street, Killer Whale Avenue.
Nice names. These are all logs here to make totem poles out of.
A lot of people ask us, well, how do you ship these things to the next destination? Well, anything under 8 feet, 500 pounds, you know, air cargo freight, anything over that has to be packaged up and barged off the island. And a lot of people ask us, well, what are some of the reasons for totem poles? Why do you people carve totem poles? Well, there's many different reasons for poles. It could be for a new dedication pole, for like a new chief or a new tribal house, things like that. It can also be...
What?
What do you say about the movie?
Can't do the dance.
Yeah. I'm glad too. I have to admit, I'm a little curious. I remember when they put this in.
Is it? We'll look it up.
Bear. Bear, Jerry, say bear.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Bear and a frog.
That's your best guess?
Yeah, I was going to say frog, but yeah, yeah.
That's the flighter.
Yeah.
Someplace there used to be remember that sign at Queen would explain when they moved these. And I don't know if there's a new.
Oh,
If they got these
great.
new.
There was a couple. Because it seems like they moved. I remember Lincoln was over here somewhere.
Yeah.
it changed a lot in that 30 years since I've been here.
The youngest totem pole we have in the park is this one straight across. It's the shaman pole. That's 12 years old.
Let's see if that's it. Many of these poles are restored under federal works projects directed by the U.S. Forest Service. Who didn't do it? Blankets.
Smile, you guys, you're on camera too.
Wait a minute now.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Don't move. Okay. He's turning. All right, you guys, out of the way.
Going to get the van.
Okay, that's $5 a piece.
That one's growing hair.
See, they're liking it.
Very good.
You passed.
No. You're going to leave. Yeah, I'm going to leave. You don't go fast.
Buggy Beach.
We're going to take a little walk down the beach.